Fernando and Cecilia C. DeBaca, thank you so much for coming in today to talk about the Republican National Convention.
Thank you for having us.
Fernando, I want to start with you. The convention is the place, a time and place where the party's business gets done. It's also a time and place for some partying. So what did the convention mean to you?
Well, it was an exhilarating experience for me. I've been to 2 other conventions, and this by far was the most exciting and fun-filled convention that I've seen or experienced.
That's great. Was it fun for you?
I had a blast. It was so much fun. We got there the first night, and it was supposed to be the Doobie Brothers. Turns out that it's Three Dog Night. We're not near the Three Dog Night, so I keep hearing these Three Dog Night songs. Finally make it over there. One of the ladies says, "Oh my gosh, those people are so old. Three Dog Night, they're so old." And I said, "You can imagine what they're saying about us as they look down on us."
Oh my goodness. So this campaign started with a huge field of
Huge.
candidates all across the Republican spectrum. Who did you support in the primary?
Originally, Donald J. Trump.
And you?
Likewise.
From the beginning?
From the very beginning.
Why did you choose him in the beginning, Cecilia?
Basically, I chose Donald J. Trump because he caught my ear, is what happened. Is that in America, we have not been able to speak freely. And for me, growing up in the time frame that I grew up, it was really a big thing not to be able to say what you think. So when he was talking about, hey, you can say what you think again, it was everything for me.
Fernando, Governor Martinez was with you guys in Cleveland a little bit. She participated. Correct. She had a video. She's the head of the Republican Governors Association, so she had an official role. But she, all the way leading up there, refused to endorse him. And the Trump campaign said that they wanted to talk to her for the vice president role, but she wouldn't even take his calls. Does that make things hard for you that Martinez has not been behind Trump?
No, it doesn't. Frankly, she's entitled to her views. She's a very solid Republican, a person who's led our state in a very effective manner, and I think she has a right to feel the way she does.
Senator Ted Cruz gave a controversial speech at the convention. I know I was riveted on my sofa. And he told the audience, vote your conscience. He did not endorse Trump, and that got a ton of boos. Did you boo him?
I felt really bad about Ted Cruz because it took me back to Donald Trump when he was saying, you know, he puts his hand on the Bible, lying Ted. He puts his hand on the Bible, and then he puts the Bible down, and then he lies. And that's basically how I felt. I felt like he, being a Christian, saying that he's a Christian, standing up as a Christian on the national scene, for him not to forgive, love, and forget, for me, it was a big deal.
So did you boo him?
Probably.
This spring, leading up to the convention, Cruz was leading in the polls. It was narrow, but he was ahead. Even he was beating Trump in the June primary. He got 13% of the vote, even though he had already dropped out before absentee voting, before early voting. What do you say to those 14,000 New Mexico Republicans who voted for Cruz knowing it would make no difference?
Well, Cruz, I think, offered some solutions and whatnot, but we need a strong leadership, and Trump is the only candidate who offers that, in my view.
This week at the convention, many Latino speakers criticized Donald Trump's comments about Hispanics. He described immigrants from Mexico as drug dealers and rapists. He repeatedly said that a Hispanic federal judge couldn't be fair because of his race. He later tried to appeal to Latino voters by tweeting a picture of himself with a taco bowl. How do you respond to New Mexicans who say, this guy's racist?
Well, you know, he really is not racist. I am Hispanic. I am a Hispanic female, so that's Hispanic and female, and I believe in Donald Trump 100%. I think if people looked at it a little closer, they would see that in essence he is really going to be doing the people, for instance, let's just talk about Mexico, because I live in the South Valley. I live around people that are from Mexico, so I understand that portion of it. And I think that ultimately he's going to help those people. Kind of hard to say the way it's come across on the press, but he's going to help those people because he's going to help them to become legal. I have a lot of friends that are Mexican, and it's hard for them. They're not comfortable because they're not officially legal. And I think we need to look at that aspect of Donald J. Trump.
Let me ask you, Fernando, did any of those comments give you pause? Did they make you think for a minute, does Donald Trump, does he really care about Latino Americans?
No, you know, it never did bother me. Granted, some folks may have reacted adversely, and I can understand why. The comments were taken in their raw form in a sort of negative manner. But really, when you look at Donald Trump's record of hiring Hispanics throughout the world, and especially here in the United States, and the way he's promoted them, I think he's proven that he's not a racist by any means.
You mentioned the workers. He's, you know, been sued by more than 3,000 people who have said he didn't pay them properly. You know, and this week he invited Russia to hack us. So in terms of business, in terms of national security, how do you persuade people who have qualms that they can trust him?
I think without question that we can trust Donald Trump. He's a man who's proven himself in the business world. Cecilia and I have been in business ourselves. We know what it's like. We know what it's like to sign the check, and not simply the back of the check, but the actual check. And he's signed plenty of those, believe me. And, you know, sometimes things turn the wrong way in terms of business, and you're forced to do certain things that you don't like to do. And I think that's what's happened to him. Look at all the businesses he's run, and worldwide, there's bound to have been some problems.
Cecilia, one face we did not see on TV at the convention was former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson. He's running as a libertarian. He's polling about 9% right now. Why shouldn't New Mexicans think about our hometown guy?
Well, I think it gets back to what do you think personally? Who are you personally? Personally, for me, I love Gary. I think he's a great guy. He's just a wonderful personality, just a wonderful guy. But he's not who I would personally want for president. So I think it gets back to just individuals.
Again, looking at the polls right now.
Do we really want someone advocating the legalization of marijuana and other drugs and all drugs?
Right now, the polls make it look like Hillary's going to win New Mexico and she's going to win the election. What are you going to do to make sure that doesn't happen?
We're going to get out there and knock on doors. We're going to get on the phone. We're going to make a lot of calls. We're going to pursue this campaign aggressively because this country's in trouble. It's in serious trouble. And we need someone we need Donald Trump specifically to lead this country out of the condition that it's in.
Cecilia, we don't have that many elevators in New Mexico, but if you were in one of them, what is your, 3-sentence elevator speech to someone who's not totally persuaded for Trump yet? What do you tell them?
Donald Trump is a compassionate, good-hearted man that will help our economy and keep us safe.
That's great. Thank you both so much for coming in and talking to us about your experiences.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I'm Gene Grant. Thanks for joining us this week for New Mexico in Focus. And as always, we appreciate your time and effort to stay informed and engaged. We'll see you next week in Focus.
Funding for New Mexico in Focus provided by the McCune Charitable Foundation and the Nalita E. Walker Fund for KNME-TV, the KNME-TV Endowment Fund, and viewers like you.